Hello, so good day to everyone who is listening to this recording. And I am Arvin Joshua P. Barlongo. So I am the founder and president of Asbrado Philippines. And at the same time, I work as a senior lecturer here at UP Manila. Uh I just started this year. And this topic is really close to my heart since I am working with it ever since I was in undergraduate. So, ayun, it was my topic sa aking undergraduate thesis. Tapos nung nag-masters, I also studied for the same on a deeper level. And ayun, ang topic natin for today is uncovering the untapped potential of microgreens in the Philippines. So, I know that the microgreens team have already introduce kung ano yung microgreens, ganyan. So ngayon, pupunta naman tayo sa kung ano yung mga pwede pa nating aralin on microgreens. So ayan, I will just go through this part. Ayan. So, I recommend you to search for our name. Ayan. So, meron kaming article ni Ma'am Timmy which is Introducing Microgreens to Pinggang Pinoy, Prospects and Cultivation, Marketability, and Indigenous Crops Utilization. So, this was published last year. Uh, And itong article na to, marami siyang na-open na research gaps. So if you do not know yet kung ano yung research gaps, ito yung mga missing na information, areas where knowledge is incomplete or lacking, unanswered questions, topics that haven't been fully explored or answered yet. Ayan. Konting crash course muna tayo sa kung ano yung research gaps. So, need for more studies, situations where more studies or experiments are needed to understand something better. So, let's say, for example, may nakita kang isang article, tapos yung article na yon may something na kulang pa sa experiments niya. So, you can go study for more. Ayan. Then, new opportunities as well. So, new insights or solutions. So kapag meron ding mga conflicting results, it can also be considered as a research gap. So let's say for example, one study found out that this specific plant is high in this specific phytochemical. So kung ikaw naman ang nakita mo sa ibang article, mas mababa naman 'yon. So you can conduct your research on that. Ayun. And underexplored areas, subjects that have been overlooked or not studied enough. So in my case, in my undergraduate thesis and master's thesis, I studied on tapilan, which is an underexplored crop in the Philippines. It is an indigenous crop here in the Philippines. And also, considering that microgreens is not yet well known here in the Philippines, ayun, pinag-incorporate ko sila. So, dalawang understudied and underexplored areas here in the Philippines. So, ayan. So the major research gap for microgreens is what indigenous crops have the potential as microgreens. So this is basically what my undergrad and my master's thesis uh, focused on. So ito yung parang graphical abstract namin ni Ma'am Timmy on our um, article. So, ito yung mga problem. Kung makikita nyo dyan sa left side, so meron tayong decreasing arable lands, increasing yung threat ng climate change, and there is also an increasing amount of people in the world. Thus, it is also a problem for food security. Thus, with those different problems that are occurring in our world, nagkaroon tayo ng movement which is yung controlled environment agriculture. And part of that is yung pag-study ng microgreens. Tapos, some of the different advantages that microgreens have, if we will look at their uh, economics stuff, so yung industry ba na yun, saan ba sila papunta? So ito, 11% CAGR or yung compound annual growth rate. Kapag sinabing ganyan, ibig sabihin lang ay mas mabilis yung growth ng industry na yon. Like bumibilis ng 11% yung growth ng industry na yon. Then meron din tayong 776 million global market value. So and that's in 2019. So ngayon for sure mas mataas na 'yan. So here are some of our indigenous crops here in the Philippines. And I believe one of the things that they will discuss, the microgreens projects will discuss is yung tapilan, which is ayun din yung undergrad and master's thesis ko. So ito yung mga possible siguro na may potential to be consumed and also produced as microgreens. So itong mga to, wala pa talagang microgreens yan except yung sa tapilan. So ayun yung ina-explore din namin. And that is the reason why we actually did this article. And ayan, lahat na to i-introduce sa Filipino food plate. Ayan. So this is actually the whole thought ng review article namin ni Ma'am Timmy. Next naman is yung mga possible uses ng mga yon. So let's say for example, itong bataw, so it can be used in cooking, yung young pods, ganyan. Pero hindi pa sila, like wala pang study for them na ginagawang microgreens. Diba? So that is one of the things na pwede nyo i-explore. And uh, kahit na wala pang ganun, mataas na yung nutritional contents nila. So this is can actually be a potential for this crop. Ayan. Ang isa nga lang sa mga parang kailangan nating tignan is yung cyanogenic glucosides. Yun. So, kapag hindi niluto yung microgreens siguro or yung grains, in this case, according to this, to a study about bataw, kapag yung grains daw ay hindi niluto, meron siyang sa cyanogenic glucosides. Ganon. So, yung cooking and boiling, ganyan, reduces cyanide to safe levels for consumption. So, perhaps, kung gusto niyo mag-study on this, pwede siyang bataw microgreens, tapos titignan nyo kung meron ba siyang ganyang compounds. Tapos, anong difference niya kapag raw na microgreens and yung luto na microgreens, yung mga ganun na bagay. So, samsamping is another crop that we discussed in our review article. So, it has this phytochemical composition. So, meron total phenolic contents, yung DPPH radical scavenging activity. Ang meaning lang yan is para antioxidant activity. Tapos, ito yung mga ilan pa sa mga phytochemicals na present sa kanya. So, these are some of the crops na merong potential. Sigarilyas can also be a potential microgreens. It is an underutilized legume and underexploited food source. Pero malay nyo, pwede para natin siyang gawing microgreens. Ayun. So, meron din siyang mga nutritional and phytochemical contents. Kadios is another. So, itong kadios naman, it is also known as pigeon pea. Ayan. So, it produces pods that are used for food. Yung pods can be consumed as green peas or dried grains. So, itong mga to, karaniwan silang ginagamit ngayon sa Philippines as feeds for animals. So, what if transform them as well to food naman for human beings? Ayan. So, nutritional content, promising din. Phytochemical content, meron din silang phytochemical content. And then we also have alugbati, which ito naman yung kanyang promising na properties, mataas yung nutritional content, and this is sa leaves niya, so possibly ganyan din yung mangyari sa microgreens or mas higher pa. Then meron din siya mga phytochemical contents. Ayan. So, some of the other research gaps that we need to consider, especially now, are the growing protocols. Ayun, ano yung medium? Kapag sinabing medium, saan natin papalakihin yung microgreens natin? Yung lights, anong klaseng environment ang dapat natin pag-growan ng microgreens, and nutrients, kailangan ba ng mga microgreens natin ng nutrient solution, etc. Because there are some crops na kapag nilagyan mo ng nutrient solution, meron siyang effect dun sa lasa niya o sa growth niya, ganun. So those are things that you can explore. So sa growing media, some of the growing media that are being used as the medium for microgreens ay yung coco peat. Pero make sure kapag gagamit kayo ng coco peat, it is sterilized. Ayun. Then vermiculite. Ayan. So coco peat, vermiculite, sila yung pwede paghaluin din kung gusto natin na yung ating garden, yung ating medium ay mas porous, ganon. Then, yung garden soil, inilagay ko siya dyan kasi there are some practitioners na gumagamit talaga ng soil for microgreens. Pero, on my end, I feel like hindi siya magandang gamitin. On my end, ako lang, maraming mga studies din and also through experience kasi nag-try din ako dati ng garden soil eh. Parang mas prone siya sa mga microorganisms and imagine kapag kunwari, yung kasi yung microgreens, 'di ba? Kakainin nyo sila ng maliit pa lang sila. So sobrang lapit niya sa soil. So if in my case, ang nagamit ko na inulit-ulit ko ay coco peat. Ayun. Then, hydroponics. So, sa hydroponics naman, hindi kami gumagamit ng any of this. So, water lang talaga siya. And yung trays na dinemo nila Ma'am Timmy, ayun. So, dinemo or ididemo nila Ma'am, yung kasi yung tray na yon may upper tas may lower. Ganyan. So, yung lower, doon ko lang inilagay yung water. Then ito naman yung topic ng aking master's thesis which is yung LED lights. Ayan, so nagtry ako ng iba't ibang klaseng lights, iba't ibang color ng lights. So here, ang best light talaga is yung white light, then sumunod yung purple. So ayun yung like generally yon. So sa nutrients, meron din kasi mga nabibiling SNAP solutions. So yung SNAP solutions, para siyang ganito, yung nandiyan sa photo. Ganyan siya. Tapos, magkaiba, like may nutrients yan, tapos paghaluin mo sila. Ganun. So, pwede mo lagyan ng ganyan, pero there are some people na parang sinasabi nila na kapag nilalagyan nila ng chemical, ng nutrient solution, parang mas pumapait yung lasa, ganyan. So, you can also explore on others. Let's say, for example, ano ba yung mga iba pang pwedeng ihalo kaya sa tubig? Sugar kaya? Like, mas tatamis ba yung mga ano? How about yung salt? Yung mga ganun na bagay. So, you can also explore on that. Ayan. So another research gap is yung post-harvest handling. I know that there is a topic on post-harvest handling din pero papahapyawan ko lang to. So ang possible na pwedeng gawin is packaging and temperature. Ito yung dalawang critical sa microgreens. Dapat tama yung temperature mo. Like saan ba mas magandang i-store kapag nasa bahay ka? Sa ref ba? Or ay sa lower compartment ng ref, sa upper o yung sa chiller ba o yung sa um freezer, yung mga ganun na bagay. So I tested that during my undergraduate thesis and it happened na ang mas maganda is yung nasa lower compartment lang. So kapag nasa freezer siya, hindi siya maganda kasi nagkakaroon na ng chilling injury. Ayun. So ang chilling injury parang na-destroy na ng mga ice yung cells ng halaman. So mas madali siyang namamatay. Tapos mas nagiging pangit yung quality niya. Parang ganun siya. Then, sa packaging naman, ano ba yung dapat nating lagyan? Let's say for example, kapag inalagay mo siya sa ref, ano ba dapat? Ziploc ba? Anong klaseng plastic ba? Yung mga ganun na bagay. So, during my undergraduate thesis, I actually tested for two. Uh, Merong zip bags, then meron ding clamshell. And among these two, ang mas maganda during that time ay yung zip bags. Ayun. And I think even yung mga preliminary test sa post-harvest ngayon sa ginagawa nilang project, ayan, yung zip bags din yata yung maganda. Like yung yung ganyan na plastic. Ayan, so this was my setup during my undergraduate thesis. So meron ako diyang clamshell packaging, tapos meron ako ditong Ziploc, ganyan. Tapos in-evaluate ko lang sila sa kung ano yung itsura nila. Ayun. So of course, more research gaps naman sa nutrient analysis. So if you have funds to do this, you can test sa mga different laboratories na meron tayo. I don't know if they are accommodating high school students sa UPLB, but you can also look for services na meron sa like yung isa-submit mo na lang siya for testing. Marami sa UPLB ng mga institutes na gumagawa ng mga to, so you can also search for that. Then another one is sa DOST-FNRI. Doon din, meron din doon. So if you have the funds to do it or kung kunwari by group kayo or what, you can also do proximate analysis, vitamins and minerals, and phytochemicals. Ayan. So can you think of more research gaps? If you can think of more research gaps, let us chat. You can chat me here at sproutupi6111 at gmail.com. You can also follow Sprout Up Philippines on Facebook, on TikTok, on YouTube. And yeah, uh, you can always email me at this so you can take a screenshot or you can take a picture of this slide for your future reference. Again, this is Arvin Joshua P. Berlongo para sa Bayan, Agham at Agrikultura. Thank you very much.